Hey guys, in this video, I'm going to give you guys my 2023 Team of the Year, decided by me, myself, Repyich. And I guess before we get into this, I just want to give you guys, just to let you know kind of the requirements to get myself. Really just, the main one is that I have to think of the whole year itself in terms of 2023, not just the Rep World Cup. But of course, because it's a Rep World Cup year, that does, carry a lot of kind of decision making in terms of the players I've selected here. So obviously keep that in mind. But look, I'm looking across the whole year, so that's really kind of what you guys have to know. But of course, the Rep World Cup will have a big say in terms of the players I select. But again, I'll even throw out a few stats for some of the players, just kind of back up my decisions. But besides that, before we get into this, make sure to like the video, guys. Subscribe to our channel. And leave a comment below. Let me know what you guys think in terms of my team of the year, but also leave what players you would include in your team of the year, because I'm very very interested. Of course, really just good to see your opinion. But besides that, let's get straight into this. So as you can see right here, guys, this is the props that I've selected for this team of the year. I've gone with the likes of Oxen Che number 1, Cody Taylor at number 2, and Ben Tamafuna at number 3. So a pretty interesting kind of front row there. A lot of balance, I'd like to think. But going off with Oxen Che first. I mean, he was outstanding, I'd say, throughout the Rubber World Cup. Again, he's just a player who, again, comes off the bench, but he is just so impactful in what he does. And I mean, the game that kind of highlighted his kind of whole experience was that England game, I believe, in that semi-final, just because he came off the bench and really at a time where the Box needed it, because again they were 15 points down to like 6, I believe, and they needed to kind of come back into the game and kind of win a few penalties and obviously do that for the scrum. And that's exactly what Oxen Che did. And again, look at that defining penalty which we won to obviously allow us to kind of take the lead for the Handré Pollard penalty that came through that scrum, and Oxen Che definitely had a big say in that department. So he's just a player who I think has impressed a lot of people, let's say, throughout this World Cup, but also just throughout the whole year itself. He's been doing pretty well in terms of club rugby as well. So I just think overall for him, yes, it's probably more weighted towards World Cup, but I just think he was so good in that tournament. And in my opinion, I think he's been definitely the best kind of loose head prop there's been. So that's the reason why I've set it in there at number 1. In terms of number 2, Cody Taylor, again, there's a lot of players I can go from this position. This is more of a tricky one because there's a lot of good players out there like Dan Sheehan. There's Malcolm Marks, of course. There's Peter Muvaka. There's who else am I forgetting? There's Bongi Manombi, if you wanted to even say. You could go with I'm trying to think. Is there one that I'm completely forgetting off of mine? I mean, Jamie George. No, I wouldn't say he's in the conversation. I guess you could say Julian Machon, but again, he was injured most of the time. I mean, there's some Sony maybe, but look, the main 3 I was really considering between was, I'd say, Cody Taylor, Dan Sheehan, and Malcolm Marks. I think at the end of the day, those are the kind of the 3, and also Peter Mavaka, actually, can't forget it. It was actually the main 4 I was really considering. But I went with Cody Taylor just because in terms of club rugby, he scored 12 tries for the Crusaders. He had a really good year for them, obviously winning the title as well in Super Rugby Pacific. And then just kind of helping the helping the All Blacks obviously to kind of reach that final. And again, it was a good year for him because actually, originally, he was actually the player who was coming off the bench for the All Blacks under Ian Foster originally. But again, he kind of fought for his place, kind of won it back, and he became the starter and started all the games. He started most of the games within the Rep World Cup. So he definitely had a good year, and I think he's someone who I think has always been very consistent and a player that he did everything that was kind of expected of him. So for me, I think he's been the best hooker. I can understand if people want to throw in, I don't know, Malcolm Marks in the conversation, because again, he would have been probably my player of the year not player of the year, but hooker of the year, and put into the side if he played in that Rugby World Cup a bit more games. Again, I know he was pretty impressive in terms of club rugby and that, but it's the whole year. We have to kind of consider that in a whole. So that's the reason kind of why he didn't make it. And again, Peter Mavaka had a good year. Obviously won top 14 with Toulouse. Again, scored a few tries, obviously in the Rep World Cup as well. I think he's probably the one I would have edged it towards. It was really between him and Cody Taylor. Dan Sheehan, again, he didn't play much in the Six Nations. I mean, he did get 2 tries against England, but again, just he didn't play as many minutes as you'd expect throughout the Rep World Cup as well. And obviously they just didn't get to make that next leap, of course, going into the semifinals. But look, I think Cody Taylor's a fair shot there. But in terms of number 3, I've gone with Ben Timafuna there, and he's one of the players I actually do have a stat for, just because I think it's important to give out a few stats on these players. And the one I saw about him was that, out of the 98 props to notch up 800 plus minutes, so throughout, kind of the calendar year for men's rugby, in terms of international, or you can think of it as club as well. He was the only Ben Tamafuna, they said, averaged the most meters gained per 80 minutes, which was 21. So that's pretty impressive. And again, I got to see him live against the Box in Marseille, and he was just, he was insane in that one. Obviously got to try in that game as well. He also got to try, I believe, against Scotland. But he's just been a great, he's had a good year. Again, I think really the only negative I would really put down to him, and it's really only a slight negative, is that when it came towards the Pacific Nations Cup, when obviously representing Tonga, they lost all 3 of their games. And, it would have been better if he kind of, won that, kind of stepped it up a bit, elevate his CV even more. But at the end of the day, he was pretty impressive at the Rugby World Cup. He's done very well, obviously, for Bordeaux in the top 14. So, I think I'm pretty happy we're putting him in as my tight end prop. Again, in terms of competition for that spot, I mean, you're going to probably look at what? I think Tyrell Lomax had a good year, definitely an improvement year, so he stepped up a bit. Of course, you have Tad Furlong, he was just remarkable as always, very consistent as well. You had Fatima Herber. Again, he was good at times, but again, he could let you down at times as well, I'd say, kind of giving some penalties away, but still a magnificent player. And then, who else? I mean, you have Tiliano Tupou, but he was injured for most of the time, so I wouldn't even consider him. Is there a player I'm missing out here? There's, I can't think of one on the top of my head here. I mean, I guess Uni Antonio is the other one I'd say, because he had a good year for France, actually. He's probably the one I'd think about the most, actually, in terms of competition towards Ben Tamafuna. But, look, I've got to go for Ben Tamafuna. I just think it's kind of a cool pick also. I think he just backed it up, obviously, with that stat as well. And he just had a really impressive Rugby World Cup. Moving on here then towards the locks, I've gone the likes of Ebenet Smith as well as Tag Burn. And again, these 2 locks have been very impressive throughout the Rugby World Cup and, of course, for their clubs as well. But going off the Rugby World Cup, they were just brilliant. I mean, Ebenet Smith, obviously, up there for World Player of the Year, one of the 4 nominated players, and obviously won the Rugby World Cup with the Box. He's just been a cornerstone, really, towards what the Box have been able to do, particularly from that forward pack. And, he is the best lock in world rugby. That's just there's no question about it. And he was so good for the Rugby World Cup. And even before that, he had a really just good year overall. And obviously he helped the Box win the World Cup back to back. So what more can you say about him? But again, you do have the likes of Tag Burn, who I thought was very impressive as well. Another player who's always been very consistent. Won the Grand Slam obviously for Ireland in the Six Nations. Had a pretty impressive, I'd say, Rugby World Cup, scored a few tries of his own as well in there. So, again, I just think he held his own. And, again, you could have put other players in the conversation. Of course, there's Scott Barrett. There's, I'd say, RJ Snyman. There's James Ryan, you could obviously say. There's Will Skelton, I thought, had a good year as well. Again, obviously, with Australia knocking out group stage is probably wasn't lower in my list in terms of considerations, but look, I think overall that's a good pairing, I'd say, in terms of the locks, and I just think both of them would work pretty well together. So that's my locking pairing for this team of the year. But anyway, in terms of the loose forwards I've selected here, I've gone the likes of Quagga Smith as a number 6. I've gone the likes of Peter Sepultura as a number 7, and Aris Sevilla as a number 8. And again, I have a few more stats here for 2 of the players in this loose forward pack. Starting with Quagga Smith. I mean, Quagga Smith is just incredible player, just to say, first of all. He's probably my favorite Buck player, in all honesty. I think he's just been sensational, and he's just a player who really just stepped up his game throughout 2023, but also just he backed it up. He really just backed it up. And obviously, with that Rugby World Cup under his belt now, 2 times now, he is just, he's just incredible. And again, I mean, look at this stat here. Quagga Smith won both the most turnovers overall, so 40, and the most jackals, which was 27, of any men's player in 2023, and that's across all major club and international comps. And he just also tops the charts for both those categories on a per minute basis. So that's just incredible. He really is just kind of like a specialist at the end of the day, and that's someone every team wants someone like him in their squad, and particularly coming off the bench and making the impact. I mean, he has by far been the best impact player of the year. There's no doubt about that. I can't think of another player who's been better than him. Again, you can put Oxenchain in the conversation, but I'd give it to Quagga Smith. He he just elevates the box to a different level in terms of that loose forward pack. And again, he's just someone, he's very versatile in the sense where he can play 6, 7, or 8. So yeah, it's also good to have a player like that in your side. But again, with Peter Seth number 7, he was sensational throughout the Rep World Cup, particularly in that final. Of course, the other stat is that he got 28 tackles. That's just saying that it was crazy, but 28 tackles in the Rep World Cup final against the All Blacks. And again, the previous record was with Richard McCall. I believe it was 14 or 19? I can't remember. I think it was like let me check it now. He had 18, so he definitely overtook it by what? It was like by more than 10 or something that way. So it's just incredible what Peter Seth has done. Again, he was player of the year obviously in 2019, and he's continued that obviously in 2020, and he's just 2023, and yeah, he's been an incredible player for the Box. It's Peter Seth the toy. He's just he's just amazing at the end of the day. So yeah, it's always good to have someone like that on your side. And again, Ona Sevilla at number 8, he's had a great year. Again, for the Hurricanes, more or less had a decent season, but again, he really stepped it up for the All Blacks. Again, won the Rugby Championship, and then got to the final. I think he had the most carries, progressive carries in the competition as well in the Rugby World Cup. I think it was like 81, if I'm not mistaken. So I mean, that's just incredible by itself. And yeah, he is just obviously he did win Men's Player of the Year, so that's just another added thing to his CV. But yeah, just overall, just a very just impressive player, and someone that I would take on my side just like that. But anyway, moving on then towards the backs of this Team of the Year, starting with the 9-10 combination with Aaron Smith and Richard Mo'unga. I mean, these two have just been off the chart, I'd say, throughout 2023. Again, starting off with Mo'unga, he has been sensational, obviously winning the Super Rugby Pacific title with the Crusaders, similar towards Cody Taylor, of course. And again, he's just a player who's really just kind of elevated his game to a different level, as we've seen countless times, really. Particularly this year, he was great. I mean, he had probably the most clean breaks, I believe, throughout the competition with 14 or 15 in that sense. And yeah, he's able to fund that pass with ease. And he's just a player who I've really enjoyed watching because, again, he's caused me a few headaches, that's for sure, as a Blues fan, because every time he faces the Blues, he just turns up another level. But no, he's a great player and really just someone I've admired for a long time. And again, looking at players kind of competing for that spot against him, I mean, you could probably, I think putting Handré Pollard in that is a bit too rash because he didn't play as many minutes within 2023. And again, yes, he did step up in the moments which he was needed. So I mean, that was just that's what's expected of every player. I mean, a World Cup, it's impressive in the semis, of course, and the final. But yeah, look, I think it's just too rash about putting him in ahead of Mo'unga, who's played throughout the whole year and it's been very consistent and just been great overall. Again, you have Romain Ntamack, but of course he got injured before the World Cup, so he was another player I could have considered. There's Johnny Sexton, who was a great player. Also, he didn't play as much within the Six Nations, but still helped Ireland obviously towards that Grand Slam. And then you have what else was there? There is gosh, I'm trying to think here. Rugby World Cup, Ireland. Yeah, again, he did everything he could actually at the end of the day, Johnny Sexton, but they just weren't able to kind of go over, just kind of get to the next step and kind of break the curse. But yeah, no, he's a brilliant player, and just it's crazy how he's retired now. But yeah, it's just a legend of the game, really. But yeah, look, I think Mo'unga has to be there. I just think it's hands down Mo'unga. And then yeah, in terms of number 9 position, Aaron Smith. Again, this is an outside shout, you could say, from what most people would select, because most people would have gone with Dupont here. But I think Aaron Smith has been incredible. I guess the negative for Aaron Smith, obviously, in my selection here, is that from a club perspective, he wasn't as impressive just because with the Highlanders, they didn't have the best of seasons. So it's one of those, when you look back at it, it's like he could have done a bit better. But at the same time, from an international standpoint, he has been magnificent. Like, he's been off the chart, really. And again, he's been competing. He's had competition through the likes of Cam Roigard as well. He's kind of stepping up. So he's kind of at the fight for his place in a few occasions as well. But yeah, Aaron Smith's been great. Obviously winning the Rugby Championship and just stepping it up for the Rugby World Cup and just being the player we all know he is. So now playing in Japan as well. But yeah, Aaron Smith won that. That's a 9-10 combination. But yeah, anyway, moving them in towards these centers, I've gone with the likes of Bundee Aki here at number 12 and Jesse Krill as number 13. Again, it's a bold choice. Definitely not with Bundee Aki. I mean, he's deserves out. He's the outright number 12, hands down. He scored 5 tries within the Rep World Cup and just sensational player. Obviously within 6 stations as well, and he's just brilliant throughout the whole year, even with, from a club perspective as well. But for the number 13, again, there's a lot of number 13s you can go with. There's there's Reiko, there's what just you have selected. There's Gary Ringrose. I'm trying to think of the other one. There was one other one I was considering. Gelfaku? No, I wasn't considering him. There was another player. I can't think of it on top of my head right now. But I think it was Joe Marchant, actually. Was it Joe Marchant? Maybe Joe Marchant. But again, there's a lot of players who I had in mind. But I think Jesse Krill is just a player who's really impressed me overall, just because he's a player who, in all honesty, was out of favor really from a bot perspective. Because a lot of people just thought, Lekan Yuan, it's his jersey to claim. But of course, with Lekan Yuan's injury, it opened up the table for a player to take it. And again, the Bucs did try out Kenny Moody for one game at 13, but Jesse Krill just stepped up to another level this year. And again, he made that jersey his own. When he came back into the fold, obviously for the Bucs, he got 2 tries against the Welsh before the Rep World Cup. He got one against he got 1 try, I believe, in the Rep World. Was it 1 try before in the Rep World Cup? I believe against Tonga, if I'm mistaken. He did score 1. I know that's for sure. But he's a great player and just someone who's really elevated this game. And I mean, even that assist he had to Cheslin Kobe against France, I was like, whoa! Like the kick to put it perfectly weighted. Oh, it was a great try. But look, Jesse Krill, he's had a great year, and I just think, I mean, even from a club perspective, he scored what I think 7 tries, or I think for his side in Japan. So yeah, he's had a good year. He's had a really good year. So you got to go with Jesse Krill in my opinion there. But anyway, for the final 3, this is the final 3 I've gone with. It's kind of expected, I'd say, overall. Gone with Will Jordan, Damian Purnell as the wingers, and then, Thomas Ramos as my number 15. And again, you can obviously, I know Will Jordan is not 11, but again, you have to include both of them. I just think it's necessary because they've had both a great year. Again, Will Jordan scored 8 tries in the World Cup. Purnell was 6. Again, both of them have been very good from a club perspective. Again, Will Jordan was injured actually at the start of the year of the Crusaders. Only actually came back into it later in the Super Rugby competition, but still great and just played his part really at the end of the day. And Damian Purnell has just continued to be great even after the Rugby World Cup, scoring 4 tries I saw recently, and obviously a few weeks ago, and now just continuing to score more tries. So Damian Purnell is just a sensational player. Definitely a player I can see winning, in my opinion, Player of the Year maybe in the future. But again, Thomas Ramos, another player who has been off the charts, very underrated, I'd say. Thomas Ramos, I think he scored the most points throughout this year, if I'm not mistaken, and I think the second most in the Rep World Cup, just 1 short behind Owen Farrell. But again, it's a great player, Again, I've said this word many times, but he's consistent, and that's what matters when it comes towards making it towards this Team of the Year. And he's just a player who's really stepped up at the end of the day. But again, I want to give out a shout out to Boffelli because he is by far one of my favorite players in rugby, and I just felt I couldn't believe I was kicking myself really that I didn't kind of put him in his side, but. You gotta be fair in the sense, and I just think Ramos definitely had a better year than Boffelli. But again, Boffelli helped Argentina to the semis. I just thought he was outstanding. But I guess from a club perspective, with Edinburgh, they didn't reach the heights compared to what Ramos did. But anyway, look, at the end of the day, both players are magnificent, but I just think Ramos had a better year overall in that 15 position. But look, that is my Team of the Year, guys, for 2023. Also, let me know in the comments what you guys think about this team. Do you guys agree with it? Do you guys disagree? Let me know in the comments. Make sure to like the video, guys. Subscribe to our channel, guys. Click that subscribe button. We'd greatly appreciate that. And I'll see you guys next time.